in the long list of people that you write about in the book, you also put Philip Roth for the distinction he does between patriotism and nationalism.
I was very lucky. We were lucky as a family to know Philip very well in the last years of his life. And everyone knows that he gave up writing novels in the last 10 years of his life, but he didn't stop writing. He didn't stop writing. And what he wrote about in speeches and in reviews was exactly this question, because he wanted to ask himself the question, why was it, in retrospect, that he had such a powerful sense of patriotism growing up? You know, Philip is exactly the same age as my father. And my father also, and they had exactly the same experiences growing up, and they both were highly skeptical, critical, intellectual liberals who nonetheless had enormous affection for their upbringing and enormous patriotism. And Philip finally said, the reason I was patriotic about the United States is because I was patriotic about Newark, this very ugly industrial town, not even industrial, insurance town where he grew up. And it was because, exactly coming back to the point we were making before, the practice of coexistence in Newark, the fact that Jews could live their lives almost entirely without persecution, that they could share the cult of baseball with African Americans, with Italians, with the Irish, that everyone drew a common identity from the fight against Nazism and so on. And Roth even said that the writers who meant the most to him as a young man, he realizes now, were not the great European modernists who he came to admire later, but the American regionalists, writers like Sinclair Lewis, who were able to portray America in a way that made it accessible even to a Jewish immigrant kid. And so he said the experience of Newark was what gave him America, and that the patriotism that he felt in Newark for America was a patriotism of place. He loved the place where he was. He loved the place where he was growing up. Nationalism, by contrast, is an abstract idea rooted in a feeling of vengeance and victimization. The nationalist, Hitler, is the ultimate nationalist, but Trump does pretty well, only has a story to tell about being victimized. Trump has no affection for any place. He has no community. He has no roots in that simple sense. Incapable of patriotism, only capable of nationalism.